Hello, everyone. My name is Jacob Strupek, host of the Bowtie Movie Lounge. Joining me today, Samuel McCullough. How you feeling?
It's good to be here. I've actually had a lot of lead up to being a part of this podcast. Been watching it lately, and I didn't want to be left out. I thought maybe I could hop on, talk some movies.
Yeah, you kind of wedged your way in.
Yeah, more like pushed, but
No. I was joking. Don't feel like you actually wedged yourself in. No, I'm excited to have you on, bud.
Yeah,
this is gonna be fun. So, especially with David, y'all obviously are close.
We're good friends.
We're gonna have both y'all on. We're gonna talk about some
really good movies. I hope
down the road.
We have to have some big movies. I could see some really good movies in your future. I mean, what you've been doing on this podcast is, I've looked up to, and I love movies. I mean, probably not to the degree that you like them, but it's fun being on this podcast. So thank you so much.
I can say, off the pod, you've had some surprising takes on a lot of surprising movies.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the future with you, man. Well, tell me, hotshot, what's the movie we're doing today?
Speed, the movie, 1994. Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, Dennis Hopper, and some other good actors. I think it features what's his name, Alan Ruck from
Alan Ruck.
Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Day Off.
Yeah, Cameron.
Darn.
Fry.
I love that actor.
Well, Speed, dude. I also said it wrong. It's pop quiz, hot shot.
Really?
Yeah,
I said.
I said tell me hot shot. I said it wrong.
It's pop quiz.
Pop quiz. Hot
I think
shot.
that's either that. I think that's one of its best lines.
Yeah. No, it definitely, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Well, I'm excited.
All right.
You ready to get into it?
Absolutely.
Everyone, sit back and relax. You're at the Bowtie Movie Lounge. All right, let's blow this joint. Speed. Released June 10th, 1994. As you said, the film stars Keanu Reeves, Sandra Bullock, Jeff Daniels, and Dennis Hopper. Mm-hmm. And like we also mentioned, Alan Ruck. Comes pretty star-studded. This movie has become a cult classic within the action genre, and a major stepping stone for especially its two lead actors, Keanu and Sandra. Mm-hmm. Spoiler alerts to any of those who have not seen the film.
You probably want to hop off this podcast, ignore everything you're doing, and watch the movie.
I mean, at this point, this is a classic. It's kind of, it's like Die Hard,
but better, in my opinion. That's a very controversial question I have, but I do think it's better than Die Hard.
That actually was my opening question.
Sorry to
No.
in.
No, I'm saying like you hit it. So you think this is better than Die Hard?
By far, in my opinion, I think it has aspects that I like more. Just
okay.
Overall, I do think like action-wise, like they're both pretty level. I just think like the degree and how like high wire and uptight Speed is, it's like it keeps you on your seat.
Yeah.
Not to bring in my family, but my parents said like this was the movie of the 90s. Like,
yeah.
He said like they were in college or high school. Like they said when they came out and watched this, like it was the first movie they like had really been like, grabbing their seats. Like,
really?
They said like this was the movie. Like, and everyone loved Keanu and Sandra after. They were big fans of them, like because of this movie.
Especially like Sandra, like Sandra Bullock, like.
She's had some funny movies recently. That movie with
Channing Tatum.
That was so funny.
I still need to watch that. I still need to watch it.
I was watching it. I went to Scotland last summer, and I just watched like all her funny movies. Channing Tatum has gotten. He was once serious, and then he got funny, which is another thing. Like Jeff Daniels, this was one of his very serious movies.
Yeah, that was one where I was thinking, especially when I was watching, I was like,
were you expecting him to be more funny?
Yes and no, especially because like I grew up on Dumb and Dumber, and
you're not expecting him to be like police, like serious, like you're expecting him to be a dumb idiot, you know, like from the movie he was in, like.
Well, I also have seen him in more serious roles. Have you seen Looper?
I have not. Those are the like, not to draw away from being a movie geek, but those are like my only two true movies I see with Jeff Daniels.
Yeah, no, he's great in Looper. He's the main antagonist in Looper. and
Yeah.
he's so good. He's so good.
Really?
Yeah, he's so good in that. Personal thoughts on this movie. You've already mentioned that you think it's better than Die Hard.
Sorry I went away from that question, but what I was gonna say is, yeah, like I think Die Hard, like I kind of like to be a statistical geek,
Right?
like like what is it? Income, box office.
Yeah, the box
Like,
office revenue.
people might not know this, but Speed destroyed Die Hard in box office, like
Yeah.
on a big scale, like internationally, globally, like they kind of set it down on them, like.
Yeah, with a $350 million, box office revenue. I mean, worldwide and like up to date, which is pretty insane.
That's pretty good for a movie that's been out for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Well, basically 30. Actually, this June it'll be its 30th anniversary.
That's very true.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In June, okay. I mean, I guess this could be its 30th anniversary
And
special.
wait, so they've made $100 million and then some every 10 years.
Huh.
That's very good.
Very impressive, actually. Especially off of a $30 million budget.
That's good.
That is pretty good. Huh. Yeah, I'm not...
I mean, we're just adding numbers here. I suck at math, so
Yeah,
I
same
get,
here. So, like, that's at least...
Guess the
it's
movie
at
Lounge
least
is-
made 10 times, what it would cost.
Yeah, it gave us and Die Hard. I think it made like 240 mil, and it's been out for. When did it come out? 84. I think it has another 10 years on Die
I
Hard.
want to say 88.
It still gives it almost. I think it was a little earlier in the 80s.
Little
That goes
early?
away from the point. It had more time to get income, and
Right.
it's also technically a seasonal movie. Like,
Yeah, well, that's a whole other discussion for another.
Now,
So you don't think it's seasonal?
let's try to get away from this real quick. But Bruce Willis said it wasn't a holiday movie, but like, let's ask everyone, like, do you watch Die Hard around the holidays? Because I do.
Yeah.
I don't consider it a holiday movie, but like, there aren't many action Christmas movies. These just fall under that genre.
My personal thoughts is on the movie. I think it's good. It's good. I just have my own personal thoughts that might make it.
Controversial.
No, it won't. It wouldn't bring it down to just an okay movie, but it's a classic.
So like, an
It's
classic.
It's an
movie.
okay classic. Like I enjoy watching this. I'm like, this is you can't go wrong with Speed.
Mm-hmm.
You
Like,
know?
if you want like a nice summer night action movie, this is a good movie to watch.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be kind of cheesy, but like at the same time, just like
Call it cheesy.
I think it has a
Really?
lot of cheesy parts.
Well, we can get into that because
We're definitely gonna get into it.
there are parts that I think I don't have as best a take, and that's why I like being on this podcast because you really
Right.
have some other stuff like movies. Like I feel like you can talk about them. It's just when people are willing to. Like it's not many people sit down like what we're doing right now and talk about a movie as in depth as we're going to. For
Right.
y'all to listen to.
We're at least gonna do what we can.
Mhm.
Opening question. So, do you ever think what it would be like to find out a bomb is on a vehicle that you're riding?
That I'm on.
Yeah. You ever think
Well-
about it because of this movie?
You want me to take it as the standpoint of the exact events of the movie? Like this is
Yeah, like,
'Cause, like-
let's just imagine you were like, for some reason, let's say like on a school bus on
Yeah,
your way
yeah.
to school, and all of a sudden, like, hey, turns out there's a bomb underneath this thing.
Well, if it weren't like the movie, I'd be trying to hop off.
Yeah, that's true. But then
I'd be
of
jumping
course-
off the battle bus and I'd be getting out of town, bro. I don't care if I get the flesh ripped off of me when I jump onto the concrete. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was gruesome. But
Well,
point
that's
is,
what we
like,
want.
you'd rather lose the skin on your arm than lose
Your whole
head.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, your whole life.
You pull a
Just like that.
Deadpool 2 where you light the match. Have you seen that scene? That scene's hilarious.
Oh yeah, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, sometimes you
Dewey
gotta
Slope-
die a little
The
to live a
Dewey
little.
Slopes of last Saturday. What was it called? Gosh, I forgot what.
On
what
Deadpool
it was.
2?
Yeah,
It's been forever since I've seen Deadpool 2. I love that movie.
yeah.
But
But
it's just been forever.
not to get away from Speed, but as we were saying,
But no, I don't know. I don't really. Sometimes I will be like sitting there, like just kind of wondering, like, what would it be like if I just like there was a bomb here?
like a what if situation.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
just
like-
a what if, like, or if I'm on a plane, I'm just like, what if someone brought in
What if
a
someone brought
water
in
bottle and it was just like
laced with
the TSA didn't
the
catch
atom
this
bomb
water.
or something? Stuff.
Yeah, the
like,
TSA didn't catch this plastic water
like-
bottle of like Niagara or something.
like a bottle of like napalm jelly and they just light it.
Yeah, just the whole thing.
That's another thing.
Sometimes I'll think of that just because of this movie. Well, how about just a little bit of a synopsis for those who haven't seen this movie in forever? If you haven't, go check it out. We've already said spoilers. Mm-hmm. Terrorist Howard Payne plants a bomb on a Metro bus when young police officer Jack Traven.
I think it's Traven.
Traven. Yeah, I can't. I don't know why I can't remember certain things like that. Jack must keep the bus over 50 miles per hour. 50, not 15, but 50. And there are many shots of just where it's almost going under 50. Because once it goes over 50, the bomb on the bus is armed.
Activate it, and if it goes below, it will blow up. And
right.
As it says, like, as Keanu Reeves says, or Jack says, this thing could put a hole in the earth.
Yeah, whenever he sees how much C4
when he
is
says that,
there.
When he says that, he's like, the frick me. Oh darn.
Yeah.
Like that's when it changes. Now, not to jump ahead, like we're trying to sequence the movie, but like when
It's a little bit, it's okay.
Not to throw out another spoiler, but Harry dies.
Right,
yeah,
Harry dies.
In pursuit of the bomber.
Howard.
Of Howard.
Howard Payne, played by
Dennis Hopper.
Great Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. He also had another good portrayal of a drunk dad in Hoosiers.
He was great in Hoosiers.
He was great in Hoosiers. But I think that's when it clicks. Like, he's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, you fricked with the wrong person. Like,
I'm gonna don't frick with daddy.
Yeah.
That line.
Trying to be PG here, but like,
yeah,
he switches. PG. He's like, I'm gonna fix this. I'm gonna get everyone off, and then I'm gonna come and I'm gonna take your head.
Right.
He's like, I'm gonna rip your spine out. I swear to God. Like, he does that Keanu Reeves, like, death threat. Like, you see it in movies afterward, like,
where he does like
what he does in Speed. You can see it in John Wick, if the new movie's coming out, by the way, or has come out.
Yeah,
but,
it's
like,
come out.
You can see the resemblance, even though he doesn't have long hair and a beard. I mean, he's the same old Keanu Reeves.
Same old Keanu. Mm-hmm. No, this classic
Is it Keanu or Keanu?
Keanu.
Oh, gosh.
Keanu. Oh, you've been saying Keanu?
Yeah. Gosh.
No, this, as we mentioned before, I mean, this is definitely a stepping stone for action Keanu. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what really set him. I mean, with Point Break, it definitely put him on the scene.
Yeah, on the map.
And then, as you mentioned, earlier before we started recording, Bill and Ted,
mm-hmm.
I mean,
that was more of his funny movie. This started his action.
Yeah.
Like serious action. I think Bill and Ted was more of like a kid movie.
Well, it was just like almost like a debut on the screen. Mm-hmm. But this was more of a debut for an action lead. Mm-hmm. This is what really put him on the map as like the leading man of an action movie.
Like someone who could portray like a character like, someone like Tom Cruise could, or Bruce Willis in Die Hard, like we were previously talking about.
This definitely, I feel like, it was definitely a build up to like The Matrix, and then ultimately John Wick. Mm-hmm. But it was definitely just a debut to him as the action lead.
I do think who had a very big impact in that is the director Jan de Bont.
Yeah, Jan de Bont.
That's right, Jan de Bont.
Jan de Bont. Yep.
But she did some great movies. She did Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, and Hunt for the Red October, which is one of the greatest.
Oh, that's such a good one. We'll be doing that one eventually.
Gotta do that one. That is one of the single greatest action movies of all time. Not to jump ahead. It's a very good classic with what's that guy's name?
Alec Baldwin and Sean Connery.
Yeah. But
such a
great movies. And she also did Twister 2 years after Speed.
It's a he.
Gosh.
It's all good.
Whoops.
It's all good.
Sorry.
But yeah, Twister. But yeah, Jan did Twister, Lara Croft, The Cradle of Life. I guess that's like the sequel. Mm-hmm. And The Haunting. Mm-hmm. Was the cinematographer of Die Hard, Hunt for the Red October, Basic Instinct, and All the Right Moves.
Yeah.
Also went on to do a lot of producing as well.
Mm-hmm. Which people kind of underrate him for.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot. I just didn't bother putting on because there was just so much like
we're trying to focus on
the Paper Boys, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I mean, to get back to like the film, the film part of it. Mm-hmm. I feel like the introduction of each character, we were introduced to the protagonist and the antagonist right from the get-go at the very beginning.
Yeah, like when you see, what is his name? Howard, he's like, he's been planning the bomb, he spent 2 years protecting it, where the security guard walks in. He's like, you don't have a jurisdiction to be here. And he's like, okay, can you check this? He has like the knife in the newspaper.
Yeah.
And he's like, here's my, wham!
Yeah, and got him.
Smokes him. And it kind of makes me crack up the 90s and 80s, like how they portrayed blood is like, you can tell it's so fake, but it's also like, you like it. Like,
yeah, it's over the top, but like not,
but
you can
over the
bearable.
top to where it's good.
And it's bearable to watch.
Bearable, yeah. I think that's why my sisters can watch it, because like they can tell, like now, like people have done a really good job of making blood look so real.
It's a little darker. The blood back then was always like fluorescent.
It was very
red.
too red. It was like rose red, like deep red. It wasn't like the blackish. You can feel, if you like have a cut on your hand, you can feel like it's not just straight red. Like you can feel like just a hint of other colors in there. Not to be going into the weird part of what blood looks like, but
no, it's all good. But I see what you're saying. It's not too graphic. It's it's almost fun in a way.
Yeah,
without being actually fun. You don't sit there and enjoy. I personally don't. I don't know if you do. No. Watching like a dude just get stabbed in the head with a knife, like it.
But I don't get disturbed by it.
Yeah. This one definitely portrayed where you didn't get disturbed by it. But no, that's what caught my eye, was like the introduction of both characters. Like you see how crafty Howard can be with, he's capable. He may be an older guy, as Dennis Hopper was in the 90s. I
think he's still alive, actually. I mean,
he is.
He's a relic. He's very old. Not to be
not to be ageist.
Trifling on my boy Dennis, but when you get up in age, you start to look frail. I mean, if you've looked at some other actors,
I meant to look that up today if he's still with us, but something in me says he's not.
He might be. I think you might be right on him.
I need to go back and check that out. That's exactly what I meant to look.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like from the get-go, you also kind of realize how this could be a little bit of like, I mean, especially now, I don't know what it was like back then. You could see like some dated elements within this. Like, I don't know about you, but like it just made me crack up whenever you see the car with Jack and Harry.
Oh, their first scene is them like going over the plan, like when he traps the people in the elevator, like they're like chewing gum, like this is like a normal operation. Like they're like,
another day.
We got this. This no biggie.
Another day, and they're just like, they're very observant. Yes. But I was talking about like whenever like they fly over, they do that like whole jump on like that like hill or something, and like they just like land. Then I don't know. I just felt like, okay, there's a little bit of age to this that's like a charm.
Now, I've seen this. I don't know if you can see it, but do you ever see like Howard and Jack are the same person except evil and good? Like they're both crafty. Like in the beginning, you know how Dennis is able to, kill the guard, and then you see how the elevator is starting to fall down the shaft. Right. How Jack is able to use the crane at the top of the building. Right. And he connects it to the elevator. Like, he's crafty, he's smart, except he's doing it for good. While
kind of thinks outside
Howard
the box.
Is, like, crafty, and he's been working hard. Like, he's a former policeman. Like, he is doing it all for the wrong reasons, while Jack is doing it all for the right. So, you know what I mean? Like,
I do get what you mean. And I do
they're
see
the
that.
same person, but, like, they're kind of, like, connected. Just a little.
Yeah, and
you can see,
in
like,
an odd way.
the symbolism.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like Howard is almost like a veteran version of Jack.
Because he is. Yeah. He was a former police bomb squad member.
He really,
He actually was.
That legitimately was. And like he's basically like just a regular guy who just one day snapped.
Yeah, like he just lost it. Like, I think it was like he had lost friends in the service and he didn't get anything in return. You've seen movies like that where like, have you seen, what is it called? The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery, where like that guy snaps because his military members aren't getting the respect that they deserve for dying for their country. Like, I think that's what happened with Howard. Like, his members weren't being respected in the community. Like, he had sacrificed, and there's a lot of movies where that happens, where they fall off the edge because they're not getting the appreciation that they do rightfully deserve. You know?
Yeah, that's the whole reason of Rambo First Blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's another good one.
Which is one we'll definitely have to cover soon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I mean, he also basically lost his hand, too.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely, but they're like, hey, he mentions it in the movie, too. Like, hey, you know, they just gave me a medal and told me, good job, thank you for losing your hand. One. That's basically like what he mentioned, too.
When
straight
he
up.
like when he blows up the bus and he's like, if you could pick up the bus driver's teeth, they'll give you another medal. Remember when he's on the phone?
Yeah.
He's like, pop quiz, hotshot, the famous line.
Yeah.
He's like, a bomb's on the bus, what are you gonna do? That question. Like, he's attacking Jack because he feels like, why are they giving Jack an award and not me?
Yeah.
Because
that's where it really became
that's where
personal.
Very personal. Because not only does he want the people on the bus to suffer, he wants Jack to suffer because he's getting an award just for stopping him.
Yeah.
And you know what's surprising? This is one of the flaws. I don't understand why they thought the bomber died. I don't get. You know, when Jack shoots Harry in the leg and he's like, he gets angry and all. I think that like they blow up a bomb, like when he's holding Harry and Howard's like, I'm gonna blow the bomb if you shoot. And I don't understand why they thought he died when the bomber's alive.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, like
that was one of the things that it'll be on my nitpick list. I didn't really understand that part because I don't know. It was just kind of a voidish scene, but I mean that was just kind of one of my few things that I wish they fixed up. But outside of that, I mean, it was really good at portraying like now it's personal and he wants it to know like if you're gonna get an award for saving 5 people, why am I not getting an award for all my friends who died?
Right.
For all y'all sons of biasses, but you know.
Yeah, no, that's true. And like I was wondering that too myself. Like they just jumped to the conclusion that he died. They didn't find pieces of him in that garage. You know? Like that's where I would have gone to check instead of just assuming. You know, that's kind of like the cheesiness of the movie that I saw were little things like that. Like, okay, they just saw a door blow up and they just assumed he died, you know.
But that's kind of the 80s cheesiness where like the technology wasn't as good as we have it now. But at the same time, I could see it fitting. I don't think it's like terrible and it ruins the movie, but I do think that's one thing they probably could have fixed.
Right. Yeah.
Especially coming from someone who has made all these great movies.
Yeah. Well, it was also written something Graham. I forget. I didn't write it down, but something Graham. Something like Tony Graham. And Joss Whedon, who directed is most famous for the first Avengers and Age of Ultron and the Justice League. So, you know, some of those have like very similar dialogue.
Yeah.
I don't know, something about the dialogue gets a little cheesy to me. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I feel like some of the dialogue in this is just very cheesy, very dated.
Yeah.
But like it still holds a charm that like I'm like, you know, that's just the cheesiness of it that I love.
Like, you know, some stupid movies have that where they're just, you know, you can enjoy it even though it's like just kind of an iffy script. Yeah. It was Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yep.
Yeah. I was looking. Oh, and Graham Yost.
Yost.
Yost or Yost?
Probably Yost.
It was Yost. And then another guy named Lawrence Bender.
Lawrence Bender. Yeah. He's written a lot. He has a lot of credits.
Yeah.
A long list. Okay, Lawrence Bender. Huh? I did not realize he.
Yeah, I just looked it up. So those are the 3 guys who did the writing.
Well, there you go.
Or screenplay.
The screenplay, yeah. No, I do know that Joss Whedon did a lot of the dialogue, you know, writing part. Where Graham Yost, or Yost, however we're saying it.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
He had the first part of it, and then I know they brought Joss Whedon to come in and kind of tighten up and clean it up just a bit. But yeah, no, I mean, I have my notes here. I mean, first few things I wrote down was like, I love the classic, just as I was just talking about, the classic cheesy dialogue between Jack and Harry.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, you just see like little things, keeping it PG on this one.
You can see the seriousness of Jeff Daniels, but also you can see like the funniness coming out of him, like resonating from the Dumb and Dumber movie. Like,
right.
When he gets shot in the leg, I'm pretty sure Jeff Daniels brought that up. He's like, I want this to be a funny action, but serious. Like, an equal, a happy medium where he can be funny and very serious at the same time, which I think he was able to portray very good. Even when he dies, when he's looking at the bomb, he even has a funny face.
He just kind of sits there like accepts it. He just has a funny looking face, I guess, too.
You're funny looking. Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
that's just
really
how I feel
is.
like with Jeff Daniels. I love him and like a lot of other stuff. I will say, I didn't feel it. Some of his acting in this one, I feel like he was trying too hard. He's like, I'm in an action movie. I'm gonna act real stoic. I just felt like that.
He couldn't. Like, that's just not him.
Him.
He needed to be himself. Like, actors are supposed to, portray their roles and to become their role, but at the same time, he wanted to bring in his personal, personality, which I think he did perfectly.
Yeah, but I also have a lot to say about all the other actors.
We'll dive in.
Well, no, I'm going to save that actually for notable acting performances.
Saving the sweet stuff before the sour?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Let's talk about the good stuff before
we critique and
before I face dive into this.
Nosedive.
The nosedive,
right.
whatever, however you want to say it.
Mm-hmm.
but nah, I mean, so from the elevator rescue, you're just kind of given like an outline of both character, antagonists and protagonists.
Yeah.
That, they're both crafty. They both are very calculated. Mm-hmm. One guy's been planning everything for years.
Yeah.
It
was 2 years.
Well, just
2 years I planned this job. 2 years I had sacrificed.
It's just like, dude, what?
It's like
over
it's
one
like
building?
Creepily like precise. Like I've been awaiting this and you're just gonna ruin it. Another thing, not to go aside from his like planning and, heist idea, like I never understood, like, why does that girl just sit there in the elevator? She has, like, I feel like it's annoyingly realistic, because people, like, no one knows what they're going to do when they're in this instance, and I do think, like, in events that actually happen, people will literally break down like...
Yeah. No, that's what I loved
literally,
about it.
Don't know what to do. Like, you can't make fun of it, because you can't relate to it, unless you're, like, like I've talked to people who've been in situations like my dad is really good friends with a former Marine who is like now become a very important mentor in my life. And he's like, I'm like, how did you deal with this trauma? And like, you're in like the heat of the battle. Like, how do you not like break down? And he's like, what the military does is it mentally, physically, spiritually breaks you down until when those events happens, they don't affect you anymore.
Right.
So it's like that hot, cold water treatment, like where they basically hurt you until like it continues to bleed and you just like can't feel it anymore. It's like numbing. It's like numbing the pain. Like, boxers are so good at taking hits because they've been hit so many times. You get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
Not to go away from like, but you get what I'm getting at,
Yeah. No, well, the way I just read into that whole situation is, you need characters within all these situations. You need different characters to kind of make you think. Yeah, the lady in there, which also plays into the bus later on. The lady who
jumps.
Annie? No, not Annie. Like Karen.
Annie's Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock's character.
But the one who wants to jump.
The lady who tried jumping and then
she pops the
bomb right below her and she went under.
Yeah. And that affects Annie.
Because then she's like, everybody.
Yeah, because then you're like, oh my gosh, this like they're like, oh my, like the bomb, like, oh my goodness. And then she dies and then you have the pan around where it goes through each actor or person and they're like crying, they're scared.
How they're taking this trauma.
And Annie's like, it's my fault.
She's kind of breaking down.
She's like, and the scene where she hits the cart where she thinks there's a baby in it.
Oh, yeah.
That also affects her, too.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't know how, she can't even, like,
comprehend
it.
Like all of her emotions are hitting her, but you also realize like I would probably be acting the same way too.
Like you can't be like, I'm gonna take it like Keanu Reeves and I'm gonna be the main character. Like, no, you are going to be in a ball, like scared, like I might never see my family again. Like,
oh yeah,
that's why I appreciate like our, the people who serve for our country. Like, they're able to like go through this.
Yeah,
like I don't understand it. Like, I don't know if you've ever been like shower thoughts, like we were talking about earlier. Like we were like, bro, what if someone could just like shoot me and I don't feel pain? I was like, for when I was a little kid, I'm like, when someone punches me, I'm just like not gonna be affected by it. And then I get punched, I'm like, ow.
Yeah.
Like that.
I get what you mean, yeah.
But like, that's why I think they were really good at portraying that through each character.
Yeah, no, they definitely utilized all the different, because they were on the bus with what? How many people? Like maybe 20-ish people?
I don't think it was 20. I think it was more like 12, 15. Because there was Alan Ruck, who was Stevens.
Yeah, he was. I loved Alan Ruck's character.
He was funny. He also looked very old. I think they made him look old. He had gray hair.
Because I know Ferris Bueller was 84, 85-ish.
I mean, it was only 10 years later.
10 years later, yeah, and
it still can have an effect.
But he was also older than you would think in Ferris Bueller. He was in his. He was like 20. He was like 25, 27 actually.
What is your take on
around 30? The
bus driver dying, or not dying? Gosh. Getting shot. That's okay. I think there were 3 sequences where it gets more intense. That's why I think the movie was done so well. It goes from the paper that he throws, it hits, is like there's a bomb on the bus, and then he lowers the gas pedal. So now you're like, oh no.
There's so many factors that could make every situation dire.
And then Jack gets on the bus. The Mexican guy thinks he's about to get arrested, pulls out a gun, shoots the bus driver. So now there's even more controversy. The bus might go under. The bomb might go off.
Yeah.
There's nobody driving the bus. Then the woman gets shot. Like, it keeps intensifying, and it doesn't level down until they're planning on getting off, which they can't, because then he'll just blow the bus. Like, I think it's very good at keeping the bar high and not bringing it down. Do you get what I mean?
I do get what you mean. It definitely reminds you of all the different stakes, all the different stakes that there are.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got to think about the speed, and like, then it starts making you think about like what's in the road, type thing. Like especially whenever they have to jump the ramp, which is,
oh my gosh, that was another intensifying
big scene.
Yeah, which wouldn't. Well, do you think that's possible for it to jump? How many meters was it? It was
like 50 feet.
50 feet.
I think that's what they said.
50 feet.
I think they said it was 50 feet. Yeah.
Because then, who was the officer who was in the?
Oh shoot, I forget his name.
Because he did a very good role, like a very small role, but
yeah, I
think
liked that guy.
He had a good impact,
Yeah, he definitely kept.
He gave
everything.
I kind of feel like he gave you a Carl Weathers kind of a vibe. That's kind of what he looked like. I feel like he looked like an off-brand Carl Weathers. He looked like Apollo Creed.
Yeah, just a little bit, but gave you kind of like that kind of stoic police chief feel.
Yeah, like someone who Jack would look up to.
Exactly.
But
no,
that was a very good scene.
I really like that. That scene when I first watched, I was like, "This is stupid."
But it has to be. You have to understand. Put into perspective. There's going to be something in every movie you ever watch that wouldn't happen. That's what makes movies so good.
Yeah.
Because it can't just be like. I mean, I definitely believe there are some movies that could be all historically correct, but there has to be something that gives it a little more sizzle, some more spiciness.
There definitely are some certain things where they can be balanced pretty well. They can be utilized a little better. I just felt like that was a little bit of like
too
much of a jumping the shark moment,
But at the same time, you know what it did do? It's the first time where you can have a sigh of relief, because once they get over, they all celebrate.
Yeah,
they're like, "Yes, we're gonna survive." I think one of the people on the bus is like, "We're gonna live."
Yeah,
but I do think after that, then isn't that when the gas starts leaking?
Well, isn't
that after?
Because
then they're like, "Yes," and then I'm pretty sure like a couple minutes later, it's like right back down to ground zero.
Yeah, that's where. So not too long after that is where he's like, "Hey, get off here." Then you realize they're going to the airport. They're going to LAX. That way they can just circle around the strip. And that's where he gets in touch with Howard again. It's like, "Hey, look, you got to let me off." And that's where everything starts
That's when it goes back down because they have gained trust in Jack because he's brought them so far.
Right.
And he has to get off. And then that's when he he gets back on when he realizes, like, Howard's calling Annie the Wildcat.
Yeah.
Because you see on her sweater that she went to Arizona.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, crap, this is Hal.
Yeah.
And then that's when it goes back to, like, now he knows. Like,
yeah. Well, that's where everyone starts figuring out things, too, because even the police chief or the captain, whatever, he's like, oh, that's my boy. Jack's my boy. He knows, they can just circle, and also it's restricted airspace for all the helicopters. So they're also going to lose Howard's going to lose the aerial view. And
he's going to lose and so are the police. So now it's down to just the bus.
It's just the bus.
But I think once he lost, I'm pretty sure if you see, like, he's in his hideout watching the live feed, when they stop videoing the live feed, he goes back and looks at his feed of the bus, and he finds out that it's a rerun.
Yeah.
Where it keeps looping them driving on the bus, and that's when he realizes, oh, crap, I need a new plan.
Well, yeah, then you're slowly realizing, like, too, that he had to have, like, a backup, too.
Oh, yeah, bro. He spent 2 years just to do that. For a fact that if he's going to go into second plan, he's going to have another idea.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
And that's when, I'm trying not to go too fast through the movie, but that's when you get into the money idea.
Right, yeah.
The trash can.
Because also, there's also the fact that, oh man, I just had my thought, but you forget sometimes too, where he's like, I want my money by 11 o'clock.
Yeah, he's very demanding.
Yeah.
He, like, threatening.
Big time.
I said this at the beginning. He gives you, like, he doesn't give you, like, a psychopath idea. He's like he's mentally in control. He's not, like, crazy, but at the same time, he, like, acts crazy. Like, he's like, I want to kill you. Like, listen here, Jack. Like, he kind of uses Jack as a puppet, you know? In his game, no, that's what he treats it like. It's a game.
And Jack even says he's always one step ahead.
Yeah, he's like
Jack
that.
knows he knows he can't take any risks too, and I like seeing that too.
Yeah, that is cool.
His character is very intellectual and constantly thinking about the situation.
And I do think we also passed on the fact of when he looks down, we kind of went through just on Jack's point of view when he opens up the console on the bus and looks down and he sees the watch.
Yeah.
That's a very important part.
Yeah.
And he's like, me, Yeah. He says, and then the classic "oh darn," my dad still uses that. He's like, "oh darn," when Alan Ruck's on the phone with the officer. What's his name? I forgot.
The officer, I forget. I forgot.
Chief officer, I guess that's what we can call him.
Yeah.
If you would,
Officer Weathers.
Officer Weathers, Carl Weathers, but that's when he realizes, like, I have to do something.
Right.
And that's doesn't that when it gets into, like, he has to, like, go on to underneath the bus and start to work on it.
Yeah. Well, also the watch is also they mentioned it before. I know Harry mentions.
That's another thing. I love how, like, he thinks the watch is important, which it is.
Yeah.
He finds out about Howard being a former officer in a bomb squad and how.
Right. Well, that's where you kind of figure it out too as a viewer, because a lot of times in movies you figure it out and now you're watching the character figure it out.
I feel like a lot of movies, they not only try to, like, have you do it, but they, like, they want you to
follow along too much.
No, they want you to solve it yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
You
get what I mean?
Which was cool. That was a cool little, like, I guess, tidbit or a little insight, because Harry mentions before, he's like, yeah, whenever you get, 30 years, you get pension and a cheap gold watch. And then that's where you're like, oh my goodness. So he's using the gold watch
to trick Harry, which ends up leading to his death, where he gets
That's where you realize, oh, he is a former police
and
bomb
he's
squad.
Like, he fell for the stupid watch. That's when he's talking to Jack. He's like, sorry, man, but Harry didn't make it.
Yeah.
And he's like, he fell for the stupid watch, right? Classic. Like, he's like, it was a simple, little bada bop boom bam.
Yeah, a little plan. I love it. But yeah, I mean, then of course they were talking on the phone, and then that's where he Keanu Jack gets off the bus, right? And so
isn't that where he goes to the live news guy who's doing no, that's when the chief officer goes to him. He's like, loop it now.
Right.
Like, he's very demanding. Like, this is now. Like, we have no other shot, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what after he figures out, Jack kind of loses it. Now you're watching the hero kind of doubt himself.
Yeah.
And doubt the situation. He's like, we're going to die. And
I feel like that happens, like, once Annie gets strapped to the bomb. After they've all gotten off the bus.
Well, no, you remember whenever he's talking to him and he tells him that Harry died. Yeah. He starts bashing the phone.
Oh, yeah, he's so angry.
Yeah.
And, like...
He's, like, losing it.
He's losing it, and Annie, like, pulls him back in. Sucks him out of the void. He's like, we need you. We all need you. Yeah. You can do this.
Which I feel like he blew up a little too quick, but who are you to say? Who am I to say?
You can't say that, because, like, think about it. Like, your best friend just got tricked by the guy you've been trying. Like,
yeah, well, that makes sense.
No, he could have been like, this is my fault. I'm the one who told him about the watch.
Yeah.
Remember?
Well, that makes sense, to be upset about your friend dying, but he was like, we're all gonna die.
Oh, like...
Oh, man.
So, like...
We're gonna die.
Too cheesy? Dude.
I just felt
you
like...
don't think
I
you
feel
wouldn't...
like he jumped to conclusions a little too quick of like, we're all gonna die.
Anyone would jump to conclusions in these situations.
Well, but
I don't think
that was in par with his character.
That is true, because he is supposed to be the figure who is the positive and is gonna fix the problem instead of accept it, right?
Has more control over his emotions,
and is supposed to.
That was a moment where he had like zero control. It just felt like I was like, whoa. Usually you kind of like can build up. You seem like the kind of guy that would accumulate, but then you just went like from 0 to 1,000, like, oh man, my friend died. Oh, we're dying.
Yeah, like some Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, I can't let my emotions cloud my judgment. Like,
yeah.
Like that. Like, and that's exactly what happened, except on a very cheesy scale.
Yeah, okay, so now you're in agreement with me that it was just too quick.
He was very quick.
Very quick.
Because, like, he had been able to control his emotions very well up until that point. Like, I don't think he should have, boom.
Yeah.
Like, don't you agree?
So here's my thought. I feel like if Howard was like, Harry didn't make it, and then like he just kind of sat there and like you could see him build up.
No, he did just like, and then I'm gonna freaking rip your spine out.
Yeah,
like,
and then
that was his build up. But then he went from the slamming and all that.
So what I'm saying is, I feel like he would have hung up and then just started slamming the phone, and they would be like, "What's wrong?" He's like, and then you just know that like he's just reacting that because he just found out his friend died. But no, he takes it a little step further and being like, we're all going to die.
Yeah.
I failed everybody. It's
like it's all on him.
No. It's like, dude, relax. This isn't normal of this character. But
I do, not to jump ahead and give a little bit of a, sneak peek into what we've been talking about, but you said that there was a very controversial topic you wanted to bring up. I don't know if it's soon or rather, but I've been you've been waiting for that. Excited about it.
I'll just tell you that it's in notable acting performances.
So actors.
Yeah, whenever we get to the notable acting performance category. Mm-hmm. So I know I told you that earlier. Yeah. But that's gonna be in notable acting performance category. I'm just gonna save it for that. Let it build up a little bit. Mm-hmm. We're definitely gonna be taking a break for that too. But no. So back to the part where he started going underneath the bus. I just felt like that was just like a cool hell yeah moment.
Like, ballsy, like gutsy.
I was like, this is the action part that we've been waiting for.
Yeah, like, because this is like, and then there's the part where, no, this is when he's getting back onto the bus. Yeah. Because remember, he gets off, and then they use the thing where he like slides underneath it with like, they have the 18-wheeler that slides it. Yeah. He has to go under the boat. Bus, my bad. And he has to like bring, now he has all of his police gear on, like he's prepped and ready, he has all of his stuff, and he's like finding ways like, how can I exploit this? And this is when he's talking to Harry on like, and this is when Harry, like, he's been shot, he's limping, and this is when he gets prepped to go find.
Right. So we've jumped around a little bit.
Yeah, we've kind of been hopping left and right. I just hope like we can
bring
it all in so y'all can really, because not to be like, judgmental. I don't think you probably should watch this podcast unless you've watched it, because it's really hard to follow. Like any of your podcasts are good, but like you do need a general watching of the movie to understand.
No, I mean, yeah, that's why I put spoiler alerts. Like, hey, y'all should watch it,
because then you can relate to it.
Yeah,
like because you can have your own take. You can have your own take.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to watch a podcast that you don't relate to.
Yeah.
Unless it's just laid out to be like that. Mm-hmm. But no, I mean, that part I just felt like was so good. That was just kind of like the action moment where it really reminded you, like, hey, this is a crazy action movie. Things that usually don't happen in this. And you're like, and then, now Keanu is underneath a bus. Looking
and then
the
wire lets go. So he's not connected to the 18-wheeler. He has to hold on to the bus.
Yeah.
So now, and then he doesn't respond for a while. So they're like, Jack?
Yeah.
Jack. And so he's just sitting under the bus.
Yeah.
And then I think it's when
he can't talk because he can't hey, I'm underneath here.
Yeah, he doesn't have headphones on. He's not.
Well, he's got his earpiece in, but he's like holding on for dear life.
Yeah.
And he accidentally stabs the the fuel tank.
Yeah, he takes the screwdriver, which I do think was intentionally put there, and it's actually a good idea because then now
it adds another stake.
Stake of suspense. But now he's like and then he gets on the bus finally, and he calls one of the big guys Gigantor. That's another one. Gigantor. Thank you, Gigantor. And he's like, we're in trouble.
Orbeus. Yeah.
He's so subtle. He's like, we're in trouble. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, we're losing gas.
Yeah. He's like, not until recently. And that's where he's basically like, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Don't get mad.
Don't get mad.
But that also
and you know what's cool? They don't get mad because they already have so much going on. Like,
it's like,
they can't get mad at him because they already have a bajillion things, racing through their heads.
Yeah, it's like let's just focus on fixing the problem or doing the next thing we need to do. Now I do like that. And
then that's when they do the loop of the video.
Yeah,
and they get everyone off besides Annie.
That's where he realizes
Jack.
There's a camera on the bus too, which was really good.
You know who we've completely jumped over that I think is the funniest thing? It's when he steals the Jaguar from the.
Oh yeah,
that guy. That guy's hilarious.
That dude was funny.
He what was it? I forgot his name, but he's like, "Do you have insurance? Are you insured?" Yeah, why? And he slams on the brake. He's like, "Oh, frick!
Yeah,
you messed up my car." And then he starts hysterically crying.
Yeah, I did. I did like that part. That was hilarious.
There's another cheesy that me and my whole family makes fun of. It's how bad Jack's jump onto the bus was from the Jaguar. He
Yeah,
you haven't seen that? He has this little hop, and then he gets onto the bus, and it's like his feet drag onto the concrete. It's the worst jump in cinematic history.
I guess I just didn't pay attention to it. I liked how he when he jumped, the whole both kind of veered apart from each other. It's
and then he
how much
Jaguar
force did he put?
Bursts into the water.
The
buckets.
Yeah,
and then
the bumpers. Yeah, it was just like okay. It's like that cheesiness that everyone loves. Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, I mean, whenever they taped it and put it on a loop, that was just cool. That was kind of like, okay, so then finally they're outsmarting this guy.
And then I do like the part, I think this was a big part, it's like when the music gets somber and then everyone looks at Jack and Annie who are still on the bus with the look of
they're screwed.
Thank you.
Yeah, or thank you and
screwed. They're like,
yeah, I'll just sacrifice.
Sucks for you, that, and then the part where oh, this is another. I have a Easter egg, which in a one movie series you don't expect. So, when we're about to go into this, when Annie and Jack jump onto the door and slide in her, and the bus goes into a plane in the airport. That plane is sponsored by Pacific Coroner. It's a company. I don't know what Pacific Coroner. In Die Hard, the bad guys get out of a van that is by Pacific Coroner.
Huh.
So there's an Easter egg that Jan DuPont put in between Die Hard and Speed.
That's pretty cool.
Which begs the question. Now, this is a very long shot. What if they were in the same universe?
I mean, that is very easy to say.
Very easy to say.
I feel like it's pretty easy to say.
Doesn't make it true, but it still adds that, code of...
It's what if?
It's pretty cool. What if,
Yeah.
Now, they're not going to add on to it because it's been 30 years, but it's cool to say. Now, that's one of the few I mean, only Easter egg I found. But, you know.
Which, you wouldn't expect an Easter egg within, like, a movie like this.
Yeah, because
that much.
There's no real, like, you see tons of them in movies like Marvel, post-credit scenes. But that's because, like, there's going to be something else. Whereas for this movie, not really.
Right. No, I get what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I speaking on that plane, like, I just thought it was funny that they all just assumed that no one was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was it just?
What do you mean by that?
Like, no one was in the plane. Remember when the plane ran in and they all were kind of cheering, like, "Yay, the bomb's gone off."
You see one person who's in, like, like the.
He's like, "Oh God."
Oh yeah, that one guy. You're like, did you not just murder 500 people?
Yeah, was that plane full of people?
Yeah, but then,
did you murder more people than you would have been murdered on the bus?
But then, like, people are like, "Oh, it's over. We can take a breath." But no, like, now they have to find Howard.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, now. And then they set up in the barbershop, what I think is kind of funny.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, they're like, we're setting up, like, it's just, like, gives you a feel like, what if, like, you just randomly, like, you're chilling in a barbershop, and then a bunch of SWATs come in, like,
yeah,
get rid of your haircut. We got to use this to find a bomber. You're like, what? Can I get out of here? Like,
yeah. That's what it feels like when you're on a movie set. We'll set up, like, shops sometimes in, like, random places like that. That's what it feels like sometimes. It's real funny, actually.
Have you, another good thing is, like, when, like, when Annie, her name's Annie Porter, like, she's so clueless when Howard walks up to her and says, with the police uniform, like, it's like, "Hey, miss, I need you to come with me, like, get out the scene, this is unsafe." Like, he's walking through, like, the death zone. Like, all these police, like, you see snipers, like, that's one unrealistic thing, like, they should have seen him coming. Like, like, he's in the circle of doom.
Yeah.
Like, they got snipers on every building looking at this trash can.
Right.
And he just chills up walking and is like, "Hey, you need to come with me."
He also changed real quickly, too, I feel like. He just jumped
That's
into
another thing. Like, movies do
uniform.
that. Movies do that, though. They're like,
yeah.
You never see someone reload a gun in a movie.
Right, which happened a lot in this one,
That is true.
But
there
also
isn't that
another
much gunfire. There isn't too much.
Yeah, well, with his submachine gun, he, like, shot, like, so much, like, in the...
Oh, yes, at the end.
And a shotgun, too. He had the shotgun in the elevator. He let off, like, 10 shots, and you never see him, like...
Yeah, you don't see that.
Yeah, you can only shoot, like, 3 shells, That's assuming you've, put one in the chamber.
Actually, if you take a plug out of a shotgun, you can fill, like, 5 to 7 shots. It depends on what kind of shotgun movie. Not to be a gun geek, but I hunt a lot, so.
Well, never mind then.
but no, yeah, you can get an extending shotgun that gives you, like, 10 shots. But not to be, like, taking this too seriously, but he did not have a gun that could have that many shots. I think he had a double-barrel shotgun, if anything.
And you just don't even realize, too, like, how much, like...
I mean, pay attention to details. That's all we're pointing out. Whatever.
But also in this, within the same realm, I feel like a bus like that burns a lot more gas than normal.
Yes, because of how heavy it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it drives forever in this movie.
And
it takes a lot of damage.
Yeah,
it takes some hits on, like, stop signs and corner ways. I mean, it hits tons of cars, going through the highways just to get an open area.
Right.
And you'd think, like, below 50 anyone? Like,
right.
It's very hard to go through multiple cars and not go under 50.
Right.
Which makes it unrealistic, but at the same time,
and
cliffhanging movie, Hollywood.
Yeah, it's in just the old cheesiness, as I've probably have said too much and probably will.
Do you like it? What do you not like it, and what do you do? Because you have stated it a lot. I have not.
I mean, it's that type of cheesiness that I'm just gonna hand wave.
Yeah.
It's just like things I'm gonna question. Be like, hold up now, hold up.
Yeah.
But like I'm also like, okay, it's a movie from the early '90s. That I'm just gonna hand wave a lot of this. As long as it's not like taking it too seriously.
But what out of it have you not hand waved? There has to be something that you thought, like,
I mean,
it's still unacceptable even in the 90s.
Just, I don't know. I feel like some of the acting was, some of it was kind of early acting for some of the actors. Like, love Keanu. And I'll save a lot of this for, for notable acting performances. But, some of it was just, he was like, also, it's just how he acts too. He was,
Yeah.
And his character, he just was acting a little too tough as a leading man. But, it did a lot of good things for him, but that's just how I felt about it. But no, that was just one big thing that I had for it. Like, okay, this bus would have not lasted this long on this amount of gas. Like what if when they got on, they had just a half a tank of gas? I don't know. That's just how I felt. Then
I guess we're very serious on details, but like taking it from a normal movie's audience, it's to what point can everyone like see that,
right.
pay attention to detail? Because some people don't take it to the degree we do. We're very, on this podcast, we're supposed to be, what we praise about it and what we seriously criticize about it.
Right. You're right. Like, that's why I'm saying, like, a lot of it, you're just taking it with a grain of salt. You got to kind of hand wave it, too. And because this is a early 90s action movie. And that I felt like was just not trying too hard to be concise. Not trying too hard, but, just trying to make a good action movie. We've done Leon the Professional, which kind of had the similar feel.
Yeah, I listened to that. But, I could feel where you could connect, the symbolism.
Yeah, it's just a simple action movie that just kind of had the same feel. But why don't we move on to the subway scene? The
final scene.
The final act where it's just, you feel like it's over, but it's not. It's not.
Future or bust, from Back to the Future. Like, this is it, or, it's over. Like, this is the final, tick. Now, here's one thing. Do you think, because I don't, do you think that the subway scene was more intense than the bus scene?
I do.
You do?
I do feel like it was a little more intense.
Disagree. I just
emotionally,
for sure.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I kind of like how it wasn't the most intense part. Like, it was slowly receding, if you get what I mean. Because if they finish on the most intense part, there's no true resolve, which I think the resolve in this movie is one of the best parts.
Yeah.
I think the ending scene is, what I enjoyed the most out of it. I really feel like it has a very, like, not, like, perfect, resolve, but just enough to where it's, like, a bittersweet good ending.
Yeah. No, that's true. And, just the crazy makeout session.
Yeah. You have to have one of those.
Yeah, you do have, especially like we've been mentioning in early 90s action movies.
I think that's in every movie.
It is in every movie, but especially back then, it just felt like it was very heavy-handed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You want to learn how to make up, guys? Make out. Watch these movies. To all you virgins.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that.
No,
personally.
I'm talking about like the cheesiness of it.
Well, if you want to make out in a cheesy way, that's where you
watch
go.
Speed, friends.
Oh goodness! Now I can't look at Keanu the same way anymore.
Hey, you're that guy who cheesily made out with Sandra Bullock in 1994.
It wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. There are some other movies where it's bad.
We're like,
it's
bro.
Like, it's
yeah. It's like,
and like that's like one of his few movies where it's that romantic. John Wick is like dark.
That's romantic for a dog. Just teasing. But to kind of close up this section of the podcast, do you feel like it was a good way for Howard to go? You can kind of see it.
And it was good.
It was like, he lost his head.
No, he said it different. He's like, I'm smarter than you, and I'm smarter than you. And he's like, well, I'm taller, as he loses his head.
I'm taller, yeah. And it's just like, okay.
Can I put this in my notes, but I feel like, do you think that this movie was very good at, being in the category of movies as good as Rocky and Terminator and Rambo and Fugitive with actors like that? Because I think the subway scene from Speed, Mission Impossible kind of took away from it.
You're right.
Am I not wrong? Because, like, you see Tom Cruise on the top of the subway where, the helicopter's coming after him.
Right.
It's kind of similar. Like, not the same way, but then I think the perfect resolve is after he kills him, Annie's, like, begging him to leave, like, go without me. And he is willing
to stick with her.
To stick with her. There is actually a World War II veteran who a person like gets their legs trapped in a bombing fighter pilot and he's gonna die. And this guy earned the Congressional Medal of Honor for staying with him and dying with him. He's like, if you go down, I go down with you. It's one of the, I think there's a movie on it. It's one of the strongest World War II stories ever.
Wow.
It's very touching.
Huh.
So
it was kind of like,
I don't think they took it from that event, but like it kind of gives you like a soldier's sacrifice.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does give you a strong feeling
And I
of
think
that.
that's one of my favorite parts. Not only was it very like action and enjoyable, but it had a very good resolve.
Yeah, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like it was a good way for Dennis Hopper to go out for Howard.
Out with a bang, literally.
Out with a literal bang.
With a bong. With a headbang.
And then, of course, just the classic, subway train bussing through. And they're also like, we have to jump the track. It's like, okay, homage to what happened before, with the bus having to jump the road, stuff like that. You just saw a lot of callbacks within the movie, too.
Yeah.
But no, I loved it. Well, that's all I have for the discussion, but I do have some tidbits on production. Mm-hmm. Sandra Bullock actually learned to drive a bus for the film, passing her test on her first attempt. So, good job.
I forgot that. You have to get an actual bus license. You can't just have a driver's license.
Yeah, I forget what they call that. I don't know, I forget. Same thing for 18-wheelers too, commercial CDL. But I don't think I don't think it's the same for a bus.
Yeah.
It might be. Keanu Reeves breaking the glass on the bus door in the beginning of the movie was an accident. However, it was left in the final cut, and they leave it in throughout the whole movie too.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool. The bus jump scene was done twice, as the bus landed too smoothly the first time.
Wait, it was actually filmed?
Yeah, that was actually done. I mean,
not at the degree in the movie, but that's actually very cool. I did not know about these tidbits.
The bridge was actually there, but erased digitally. So I guess they did it, a certain way. Yeah, it looked good. I was watching for that too. After I'd done these, and that actually looked.
It's a lot harder to do. Like back in the day, CGI was very noticeable. I could not see too much CGI in this movie.
Same. Even the explosions, all the explosions seemed very practical.
I would imagine they did some of them for real. I mean,
yeah.
I've always wondered, how do they do the plane explosion? That's very cool. Because it looked.
They just loaded a real plane up with kerosene, I imagine.
Really?
No. I don't know.
I don't know. Because it looks real. I can tell when you can see like the 80s, like you can see the white smoke in the back of a CGI explosion. That looked for real. I mean, how much was their budget?
$30 million.
You don't think that they could fit in blowing up a plane?
That is pretty expensive. I would imagine that was a lot.
You know what they used to do? They would do like mini figures of planes and then explosions.
That's probably what it was.
I know, but at the
like
same
a miniature?
time, you can tell.
No, you know what
they'd
be surprised.
I think they would do it, except the minifigure was more like the size of like a small house. Like this plane was like the size of someone's car.
Right.
Like it wasn't like,
Yeah, like that small, right.
Like that's what Star Wars would do. They used figures this small, where I think they used it at a bigger scale. Right. I don't know. That's something cool you might want to look into.
Yeah, I definitely should have checked that out. Mm-hmm. Let's see. The film literally ran out of money before it was completed. The film was first previewed for an audience. The subway scenes were animated storyboards. The audience loved them so much, the studio came up with the funds to shoot the scenes properly. That's pretty impressive.
That's awesome.
There was an incident where a schoolboy saved the lives of a school bus full of kids, where the driver had a heart attack by climbing onto the driver's lap, jumping on the brake pedal and pulling the bus to the side of the road. When asked later why he did it, he told them that he had seen that bus movie. At the time during an NFL game, there was a ceremony hailing the boy as a hero. It's pretty awesome.
That's cool.
I like that. Keanu Reeves and Jeff Daniels trained with a real SWAT personnel to fit their movements. I like when actors do that, like in Saving Private Ryan. 10 buses were used in the making of the film. Each one had 2 steering wheels, one for Sandra Bullock and the other for the stunt driver, which more often, this is actually true, I've seen it a lot, is on the roof of the bus. And then, let's see, the last one I have is Jean Debon insisted that Keanu Reeves get a sensible haircut that would benefit a hardworking cop. 20th Century Fox executives were horrified when they saw the buzz cut he adopted for the film. going as far to threaten postponing the film so he could grow his hair
That
back.
is awesome.
That's pretty funny, actually.
I just looked this up, like we were talking about. They actually blew up a bus.
Really?
And it says right here, like, their first explosion of the bus was almost a disaster. Like, they said people almost, like, could have gotten very hurt. Like, I'm reading it right now, but, like, the bus where Jack talks to the driver and then walks off.
Oh, yeah.
Before he gets on the bus with the bomb. Like, here,
I know,
I'll show you right
I know
here.
a bus.
They actually blew it up.
Wow.
Yeah. Like,
That didn't look fake at all.
no, that was definitely real.
Definitely.
But yeah, they said it could have gone very wrong. John Fraser was the special effects supervisor. So
Yeah, okay. I've seen that name around.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, cool. That's all I have for tidbits.
Yep.
Oscar year of 1995. This film won Best Sound and Best Effects.
Really?
Nominated for Best Editing.
Wouldn't be surprised. I mean, would you? Were there any other? I don't know any good movies from 1994.
Well, we discussed this on the Pulp Fiction podcast.
That came out in 1994.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
So yes.
Behind.
This basically Forrest Gump stole the whole show, just
That is
like
true.
Everything Everywhere All
You're
at
right.
Once just did.
Well, Forrest Gump is one of the.
It
a
is one
very
of the
good
most
movie.
impactful movies
It's a very.
of the past 50 years. You know.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, do you believe? I think Tom Hanks deserved that Oscar.
Well,
He got one, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he
I'm
did.
I'm pretty sure he won Best Actor. But no, we talked about the whole thing back in Pulp Fiction, but
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction was snubbed. That's all I just remember
You really
from
think?
from 1995. It won nothing.
I
Wait,
don't
no.
remember asking you a goddamn thing.
But I mean, so this won two Oscars.
I
you know,
mean, and I feel
the
like
sound and best effects.
it's really hard for action movies to win Oscars because, like, it's not as emotional as movies that are focused on it. If you know what I mean,
What the Oscars look for.
yeah, it's not what the Oscars look
Yeah.
for. That's why I don't think Tom Cruise has won an Oscar is because he hasn't. Because I think he really focuses on action movies. I mean, when's the last time he did a true emotional movie? Like, I feel like Oblivion maybe in 2016, but
Yeah,
outside of that, it's
still-
very action focused.
Yeah, he is very action focused.
But I mean, he's still a very good actor, like no doubt.
I want to say he won Best Supporting in Magnolia. I want to say.
I feel
can't,
like
can't remember.
I think he got nominated for Rain Man in the 90s.
Yes, he did. He did, which was
Awesome.
fantastic movie. We're gonna have to do soon. Hit picks. You want to start?
You go ahead. I'm still trying to get the juices flowing
Gather
after
yours after the break.
after checking the oil.
I'd say this definitely just hits hard as an action film. I think it hits all the nails on the head, checks all the lists, checks all the boxes on the list of what it needs to be as an action film. It's just high octane fun. You know, like that sounded too much like a cover of like quotes from a movie critic on a disc cover.
Yeah.
But I think this just works too well as an action film and will go down as one of the greatest. In fact, it has.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, it's good old classic speed fun.
Yeah.
I know the first time I watched it, I didn't care for it as much. But, yeah, I mean, hit picks.
I really, as it won for Oscar, I really think that, for its time, it did very well in the editing industry and making it, like, I could definitely see, like, I think some of its, graphics were ahead of its time. I think, like, if you could, like, just grab that movie and put it in 2004, I feel like you wouldn't say that the stuff they were using was outdated. Like, I think that the way they were able to, the graphics and the way they were able to portray it was very well. And that is one of my favorite parts. But I do like the portrayal of the characters. I do think Keanu Reeves really did a good job with this movie. However, I do think that the cheesiness level, as we've been saying, you have really said, like, he has he kind of went a little over the top.
Keanu.
Yeah,
So
just a hair. But
is that going into nitpicks? You think he went over the top a little bit?
I kind of went straight to nitpicks, but
no, that's good.
He went over the top, but at the same time, it wasn't decreasing the movie. You know.
Yeah.
I do think like the character could have, you know,
kind of helps the movie out in a way.
Yeah, but I do think it could have gone deeper into like the character's personality.
Yeah.
I feel like Jack didn't have a true personality. He was just the hero, the award winner.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can see him it being his personality. Like we mentioned earlier, you know, like he jumped way too fast to the conclusion that but we're all gonna die. You know, it's like.
But that's not a good personality. Like.
Yeah, it could have had more of a distinct, I guess. I see what you're saying. Okay, so you're saying you think he could have had a more distinct, more of a complex personality. Okay,
yeah,
I see what you're
complex.
Saying.
But
right.
I like kind of just like improvised on this. I had done notes and like a general overview of this movie, but nothing like nitpicks and hitpicks. Like I was more like, I think that this is generally a very good, well-produced movie. Now, we have been kind of had a big creepy lead up to what you've been controversially saying, and that's kind of what I've been waiting for.
Oh, so you're just waiting for that. No, it's okay. It's okay. No, that'll be in notable acting performances. My nitpicks are, you know, it also, I know I mentioned it's a classic action movie.
Do you, like,
it does
would
have,
you put it under that genre? A classic action movie?
Yeah, just classic action.
Like,
you know, like even Die Hard has some kind of cheesy classic action in it. And
not a slapstick, but like...
Not slapstick, but still like one-liners. It's full of one-liners.
Well, that's what makes a movie all the better. But here's my big thing. Like, do you agree or disagree that this could fit into, you know, the movies we were talking about with, like, you know, Rocky, Rambo, Terminator?
It definitely goes down as one of the most... you know, classic films. If that's what you're talking about. Yeah, no, it definitely falls under the category of like top 10 most classic films, or top 20, top 2, like 100 or 200. I'd say it's around there, like maybe top 100. Like
action films or
classic.
Classic. Okay, now I get where you mean.
Yeah, so I would say it falls into there. Okay, I'll give you this much. Here is a little bit of a foreshadow before we get to the big scary question.
Yeah.
A nitpick kind of ties in to the big scary thing.
All right, I'll try to...
Dennis Hopper took me out of the film sometimes.
Elaborate.
So just some of his one-liners and some of it just kind of took me out of the film sometimes.
Like in a scary way or a way like it just didn't fit?
Yeah.
It didn't fit?
Yeah.
Oh.
By took me out, I mean it just like, it was kind of like, what? Okay, fine, all right. I guess that's how they'll do it. I'll elaborate. I'll elaborate more when we get to notable acting performances.
But you do have to have like Dennis Hopper is kind of one of those like, you know, people who's kind of like he has that like Heath Ledger Joker kind of messed up side, but he's not a psychopath. Yeah,
I'll elaborate more when we get to notable acting performances.
But just to leave a note on my take, I think this was a well, you know, produced movie that should be classified as one of the all-time great action movies. That, you know, if you want to go into an action spree of movies, this should be definitely on your list. And if it's not,
put it on.
Put it on. Yeah. So that's my take.
I like it. Cultural impact. What do you have?
I think this is, you know, a gutsy move for me, but I think that it really influenced the potential lead up of movies with such as Mission Impossible, Ocean series. I think not really James Bond, but movies like James Bond.
Yeah, I could see where like maybe some of the Daniel Craigs or Pierce Brosnan.
I actually had that in my notes.
I could see where like those James Bonds could have taken little pieces of.
Do you think
this?
Yes, like I feel like it revolutionized like the way to attack.
How to approach
intensifying movies.
Yeah,
I think it like. Do you think like, give me another movie in the 90s that was intense as Speed before 1994, not
before
after.
1994. Ooh, let's think.
Red October, but
Red October.
but that's
let's say let's say like Rush Hour. I felt
Rush
some.
Hour's more of a slapstick.
Yes and no.
I think it's more funny than it is serious.
It is, but it has its moments that I feel like kind of tether in a little bit. It is more of a slapstick. It is more intentionally comedic, but it does have some of these stakes. I feel like
there is a stake at hand,
with the girl and
with
the daughter and the bomb.
But I do think it's just a little. The funny overweighs the intensifying, because at the end of the movie, not to go away from Speed, but the girl says, "Yeah, blow the bomb."
Yeah.
As like a joke. Like, I think it's just, I can't really categorize that with a movie like Speed. I mean, I guess you can, but I kind of disagree with that take. Not to be against it. Like, we're trying to find a happy medium, as we said earlier. But I feel like like Rush Hour. I love the movie, but I don't think you can classify it. I think it's more of like a slapstick, action movie. Where I think Speed is more of a daredevilish, high wire action movie.
Yeah, no, I get what you mean. I just
like there's funny one-liners, but it's not like funny. Like this is
it's
near
not
death.
Truly intentional.
I mean, you can't make Chris Carter a serious guy.
Yeah, Chris Tucker.
He's just oh my god.
It's okay.
Chris Tucker.
Yeah, it's all good.
He's just like, and that's one thing that I think Jeff Daniels was really good at, being serious. Like for some people like that, it's hard to be serious.
Yeah, especially whenever you're more known for a comedic actor.
Yeah.
I've just felt like, it kind of changed a little bit, kind of like what Die Hard did, is kind of how we see an action film.
Yeah.
This, I feel like it did that. I feel like this movie kind of, like, oh, look, we can have a movie completely take place on a bus.
Yeah.
It
can happen anywhere at any, like, what are you going to do? Like, what if, like, things like this happen in the world where bad things can happen, like, anywhere. And it just so happened that in this movie it was on a bus.
Yeah.
And then into a subway.
Yeah, that's true. And it kind of showed you, like, you can take a boring concept and elevate it to a pretty big extent.
Don't you think a lot of movies have done that after the fact? Like, they've made random events like, boom.
Yeah, like
wow.
Reservoir Dogs, for example. Hey, a movie can take place completely in a warehouse.
Yeah.
That's just little things like that. No, so like I feel like this did kind of like gave way to that.
Yeah. That
concept, that idea. Mm-hmm. But like you said, Mission Impossible, everything took place on a big subway.
At the end,
right? But like
it was very good at intensifying it in the beginning and the end.
Yeah, and like we saw that last year with Bullet Train too.
Oh, that movie was hilarious, and it all took place just randomly when a ton of assassins are coming after one guy just by chance.
Yeah,
like it was just a freak chance. And Sandra Bullock's in that movie.
Oh, she is in that.
She is.
Hey, look at that.
She's the person who oversees Ladybug, who is played by Brad Pitt, who's another good actor who you should probably get into on some action movies.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean,
because he's not only action, but he's also really good at portraying, like very emotional things. I think more so than Keanu Reeves and Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
because Tom Cruise is just him.
Right.
He's just a daredevil demon who's a 60-year-old who looks like he's 35 in his prime.
Right. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah. He hasn't aged a bit either. I will say another idea of mine is, I just had it, where, you know what? I can't think of any more. I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, you're fine. We've been talking a lot.
Yeah, it's all good. Questions needing answers. Do you have any?
Oh, I had so many, like when we were talking about them, but I feel like the Howard dying, like that was kind of just a bad, editing part of the movie where they, just, and then like, as you were saying, like there were some things that just were very iffy about Jack Trevan's like personality and Howard Payne's personality. Like he was just kind of very cloudy. And I do think that they could have somewhat exploited his personality. And they did in, him being a former sheriff and how he, like, has this calling to need money because like they're not giving him the respect he desires. And, but at the same time, like there are a lot of mini flaws in this movie. There aren't like massive flaws.
Right.
There's always going to be some gray area,
Right.
where you're just not going to get the perfect answer.
Right.
I mean, no movie outside of like very few movies are going to give you the perfect,
Right.
just piece of cake answer.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
I feel like that's what makes it better. You can't have just a perfect ending.
Right.
It's not like a fairy tale, Not everything's a happy ending. Now in this movie it's a happy ending, but it's not like perfectly justified.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, you're right. I mean, like, there is a lot of room for questions needing answers,
Yeah.
within this, because,
I didn't see as many as you did. I'd like for you to see your take.
yeah, I don't know, just the one main one that I could come away with was, how did they have enough gas to, like,
Yeah,
go through and,
that's
like,
the one I
just
forgot about.
the unlimited bullets and unlimited gas, like, how? Come on now. Other than that,
Bullets.
than that-
I feel like I see a lot of bullets just not being loaded in every
Yeah.
movie, so it doesn't become
it's just a classic trope, as you can say.
Mhm.
But no, that's just how I felt. All right. Notable acting performances. You want to start?
I want you to.
I-
I need to start.
Yeah, start.
Notable,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think you have something to say about Dennis Hopper. I do like his portrayal of a bad guy. I think he is a good actor to bring. Like,
Yes.
not like William Dafoe or who is the bad guy in Mission Impossible? He does a great one. He's definitely
John Voight.
Yeah, he's another guy who's a really good bad
Yeah,
guy.
I really like him.
Hmm. He's a bad guy in a couple movies. Mission Impossible. I think he's in another one.
I'm trying to remember what else.
But, like,
Heat.
Yeah, but he's good at being like crazy, but not crazy where he can't, be aware of his actions.
Right.
Like he knows what to do. He's smart. He's intellectual, but he uses them for bad.
Right.
Yeah, but like he's crazy smart. Like you know what I mean? Like crazy as in like I'm gonna use my intellectual ability to cause havoc
Right.
upon the city of California and get what I rightfully deserve.
Right. Well, what'd you think of Keanu and Sandra?
I think this movie like wasn't Sandra's most like perfect, portrayal, but I think it was a very good like way to show like she's very good at, portraying someone, in distress and like a really good way of just opening herself up to Hollywood and making
Yeah.
her like, a top pick, actress. And I think she did that because
Yeah.
as we can see, she's been in some really good
She really
movies.
made a name for herself.
And she made a name for herself good enough to where she could be the lead in the next Speed. Now, that's a different conversation, and I'm not a big fan of it, but I do think after watching it, she was good enough to, hold her own in that movie.
Gotcha.
Not
I haven't even seen it.
Not nearly as good as the first Speed, but like to where it's like, it's not drop dead terrible.
Right.
I feel like a lot of movies have trouble, like when they make a second movie after a classic on holding it, Like
Mhm.
many people thought, like, what if this Top Gun Maverick is going to be terrible compared to the
Right.
classic, which I think
Was
was
better than
out of the park.
the first set.
But to be point, like, I think this really builded up on Sandra Bullock's, confidence in acting. Keanu Reeves, same way. I think this like, brightened, his view on Hollywood. I mean, what would bring him into being a part of great franchises like The Matrix and eventually John Wick a
Mhm.
long time later. But I feel like this really like showed the public like he can be an emotional actor. He's a hybrid actor. He can do whatever you want. He can be, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure slapstick funny guy,
Right.
or he can be like John Wick, like
Yeah.
the murder.
He has some
the murder.
range.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like it.
And I guess those are the main actors, but I do think having Alan Ruck and Speed
Alan
was
Ruck
just
was-
a good like, feature. He wasn't like, they could have made him a big
It
actor.
wasn't too heavy-handed.
Yeah, like they didn't like overdo his character. It was just like a nice small actor. If you see Channing Tatum in Bullet Train, he has like a nice little funny
Yeah, just
feature.
funny little Easter egg, I guess.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he was. I do think Alan Ruck was a good comedic relief. But yeah, starting with Keanu, I think this really set him up good, as you mentioned, like as
Like,
a
good
leading
setup
action
for
man.
for the spike.
For what's going on, what's going to happen within the next 30 years, for him as an actor. Sandra Bullock, I loved her in this movie.
Yeah.
Actually, this really set her up. I think got a lot of people's attention. Like, hey, this actress is very cute. She can hold her own. She plays this like kind of macho female character without being too like macho.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think she just really set herself up good with this one. All right. So Dennis Hopper and Jeff Daniels too.
Jeff Daniels too. Okay.
I think they are phenomenal actors, but this movie, they just did not bring it to me.
Really?
Dennis Hopper, I was honestly a little disappointed.
So you were expecting a lot more.
I was a little disappointed in Dennis Hopper as the bad guy in this. I love him. I love Dennis Hopper. I mean, yesterday I actually bought this movie so I could watch it on digitally, and then I own it, DVD. But I wanted to own it digitally just to always have it, and also bought because it was right there. True Romance.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen him in that. He's phenomenal. One of the best monologues ever.
Yeah.
Given by Dennis Hopper. Whenever he's being interrogated by Christopher Walken. I don't know if you've ever seen that. He just did not bring it all the way. I felt like he was trying too hard to try to balance being crazy but also normal at the same time.
So he was trying, no?
I just felt like he was trying too hard to be a little crazy and set himself apart as a bad guy. Rather than just trying to create more internal conflict. An emotional conflict to him too.
You were expecting
I don't know. I was expecting him to maybe take a different approach. I feel like
what kind of approach? I'm trying to connect the dots.
Heath Ledger, I think, nailed it with. I think Dennis Hopper should have done what Heath Ledger did with the Joker. I feel like they were going after the same exact thing, but Heath Ledger nailed it. Whereas Dennis Hopper, I feel like he just didn't give enough effort. I just felt like there was something really extra cheesy that could not be hand waved by him.
So, you're saying he was too cheesy?
Yeah, he's like, you don't F with daddy. It's like, funny line, but what? Or he was trying too hard to be crazy, and it's like, okay, it's just now it's just unrealistic.
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, I kind of I don't think he was trying too hard because he wasn't crazy. He was doing crazy things. He wasn't mentally insane like the Joker.
Right.
So you can't really connect those two. You can't, I think the Joker was mentally insane. Was he insane? I
feel like they were just kind of on the same wavelength, personally. But I just feel like Heath Ledger did it. Heath Ledger's is iconic.
The Joker was doing it to in Batman. Some people just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah. Or I feel
I don't think that's what he wanted. He was avenging.
He just wanted what was rightfully his.
Yes.
They had different goals.
Wanted. So
they had different goals, but what I'm saying is the characters were they were kind of going after the same thing. A guy who's just kind of snapped.
Yeah.
A normal guy who's just kind of snapped, and I just feel like Heath Ledger did it. Not Dennis Hopper. I just feel like there was something he could have put a little more effort in. He could have thought about the way he delivered his lines a little bit better.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jeff Daniels too, sadly.
What did he do wrong?
I don't know. I just felt like he was trying too hard
to be serious.
Is
that because that's not his natural movie role?
I don't think so. I think it was just like, I'm in an action film, so I'm gonna say everything as a one-liner, even if it's not. Just everything felt too one-linerish from him.
Really?
So did a lot of the dialogue in this.
There was a couple that I liked. He's like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have sex.
It's
some of them fit in good.
Yeah.
But some of them just... I do get where you were going from, but, I wasn't expecting him to be, he's just a side character.
Yeah.
He's just, a good fit in that people can enjoy out of, but like you get to see a different side of a character from, you know, an actor who's usually a slapstick person.
Right. Yeah, you're right. Well, I feel like we've held up too much on notable acting performances. Favorite quotes. I'll start with this one. When Howard in the very beginning, let's see, I'm trying to remember what part, but at one point he says, "Oh, we got all the balls in the world right here, man." That was one of my favorite when he sees like what all Jack will do.
Yeah.
Let's see, Jack trying to defuse the bomb. Let's see. No, he's trying to defuse the situation with the guy with the gun. He's like, "Look, I'm not a cop right now. We're just two guys hanging out." And I was just like, what? Threw me off. I was like, that's just kind of funny. I can't help but to laugh at it.
My favorite one is Gigantor when he's talking to the that big guy on the bus.
Yeah.
It's like, "Thank you, Gigantor." And then the one where it's like, "Frick me." And then he's like, "Oh darn." That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. Oh darn. That is actually that's the one I have actually on this too. That's pretty.
And then Pop Quiz Hotshot, of course.
Yep. Classic. That's just the line everyone knows from this. You got any more?
Actually, I'm gonna go way back to a nitpick. I do like some of the quotes. However, compared to other movies, you're not gonna remember these as well.
Yeah, not really.
Oh darn.
There are just a few in here that hit.
I think there was too few.
For a movie of this scale.
But, you know, like...
Yeah.
I don't think we should leave on a bad note on this movie. I feel like we've kind of gone on a bad note for this movie, but I think our point is, like, this was a very good action movie that just had things that, like... I mean... And how good does this movie have to be? I mean, like, from the outside view, this is a great movie. There's just things, like, as movie critics that we are, like, there's just things you'd like to see become better.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, no, you're right. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Let's see. Alan Ruck just had some good lines in this.
Yeah.
He said, when the lady was like, "Are they going to help us?" He's like, "Sure they are. They're the police. Your taxes pay their salary. If we die, they gotta take a pay cut."
And it wasn't funny. He just said it.
And everyone was just like, "Yeah." It's a lot of the stuff in this is the reaction of the other people.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, that's how I felt about it. I felt like it was just the reactions, just what really made it. I like when the police chief, he's like, "You're fired. Everyone's fired." He just freaked out. And then of course Howard, like, "Yo, I'm coming for you, Jack." It was just like, what? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just little stuff like that. He's like, "I'm coming for you." It's like, okay.
No, I mean, from the outside view, if you haven't seen this movie, it sounds a lot more cheesier than it is when watching it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we are taking it, I think, a little bit too
seriously, yeah.
But
I suppose you're right about that. But, you know, like I said, like a lot of this I just hand wave.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the classic line, like, "Oh yeah, well I'm taller."
Oh yeah, the ending.
Yeah, I love that.
Well, what happened to him? He lost his head.
Let's just say he lost his head.
But I think, you know, overall, I think this movie was taut, intense, energetic, and it was a very outstanding performance for the most part for all four of the main actors, with Alan Ruck being a feature. And I think that this movie will continue to be a very well-known and, you know, accepted movie in the Hollywood industry. And it might not be like, you know, the perfect movie. It has a lot of nitpicks, as we have talked about. As much as I love and I hope you love the movie,
yeah,
I think that this movie, although it had a lot of controversy, I think what made it so good is it made other movies better.
Yeah,
because it
definitely was. It definitely was special and had its place.
Because, like, do you think that there is no shot that this movie affected the next action movies after it? Because I really think it did.
I think it did.
And that's what I think is the best thing to take off of Speed. I think it affected the movie action industry in a way to where, although it did have a lot of, you know, stuff that needed to be fixed, it was good enough to where it's one of the classic action movies that should be, you know, in the top 100, as you said. And really helped movies around it, and that's why I like it so much.
Yeah, no, it's a great. It's definitely has its place in everyone's hearts, and I think it should. It's going down as a classic.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean that's pretty much all I have besides the cinematography and the score and the soundtrack. They just both worked. Nothing too serious.
We've not talked about this. I think that the background music, although it's not a very remembered background music, I think the track is pretty good.
Yeah, everything worked. I just think
fit.
everything worked. With Jan de Bond, he was a known cinematographer for creative shots, and I feel like this one worked with Andrzej Bartkowak. That's
whatever his name is.
Whatever his name is, and then Mark Mansing, who did a lot of score, was the composer for a lot of other good films.
Yeah,
they did good. They did great.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anything for story rewrites or inserts. I couldn't think of anything. I just felt like it was pretty good. Just keeping straightforward, very very simple. Recasting, I couldn't think of anyone. Could you?
Recasting,
like
someone to replace, and they
let's say we did this movie.
We did. Huh.
No,
Oh.
Okay, yeah, or like that. But like, let's say they did this movie today. Like, who would you put in? I mean, just however you want to do it. I just didn't think too hard on the recasting whenever I was doing it, getting ready.
This might be a very controversial thing, but I think that, Chris Pratt. I mean,
Chris Pratt.
Not like. I feel like everyone's like.
He does have kind of a similar.
But, like, if you've watched The Terminal List, I hope you have. Like, there is a very serious thing. Like, I think he's very good at portraying characters, and to where he can flip. Like, he went from Terminal List to going and being the voice of Mario.
Yeah, true.
Like, he is a very good, complex actor that I think, either him or, I mean, I guess I can't shy away from, I think Tom Cruise could do this movie if he wanted to.
Yeah,
except he would do stunts that are just absolutely crazy.
Absolutely bonkers. True.
I mean, I don't know if any of y'all have seen we're kind of finished up on Speed, but if y'all haven't seen the new trailer for the next Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah, that's true.
What he is doing in that movie is crazy.
I'm excited. I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited.
I think you should add that. You should start doing, like...
The Mission Impossible is kind of like a build-up.
No, not Mission Impossible. It's just like like right after reaction of movies.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll do that every now and then. But yeah, I'm excited for... At the time of this recording, I'm kind of early April. I'm excited for Beau is Afraid, done by Ari Aster, who did both Hereditary and Midsummer, which I loved Hereditary. Yeah. Midsummer was, I don't know, had my own thoughts on it, but I'm excited for Beau is Afraid. Any trailers that you've seen lately that you're excited for?
What we were talking about earlier, Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I'm excited about that one.
I'm super excited for Guardians 3. Blue Beetle released. I'm not excited for that.
That looks like one of those Miss Marvel. Just not it. Nope.
Not too excited myself. A lot of Star Wars.
John Wick.
John Wick 4. I still need to go back and check that out.
That's already come out for some of y'all, but we haven't seen it ourselves.
Yeah, I haven't seen it personally.
I mean,
I still need to catch up on 2 and 3.
Yeah, not to hurt y'all, but we haven't finished the ones that have been out for a while. Shazam.
Yeah.
That's not a good one, but
apparently, yeah, it's now on digital already, which they didn't want to keep it in theaters for much longer. Well, that's it for Speed. Mm-hmm. This has been a pleasure having you, Samuel.
It's been fun to be here.
Hey, it was an absolute pleasure to have you. Next time, we've already been talking about having you and David from Prisoners on. We'll fill all 3 of these chairs and use all 3 mics, so it'll be fun.
It's been fun being here. Been enjoying. I don't know how to sugarcoat it any more than I have. It's been fun being here, and really enjoyed it.
Awesome. It was a pleasure to have you.
All right.
Not sure what movie we'll be doing next. Keep in touch. Follow our Instagram, just at the Bowtie Movie Lounge, or our TikTok. We'll leave the links in the bio. Or email us at mailbag@bowtiemovielounge.com. We'll catch you next time. Adios.
See ya.